Apple just dropped a bombshell last week with the announcement of their latest innovation, the Apple Vision Pro. This mixed reality headset is arguably Apple's most significant product launch since the original iPhone, and it's generating quite a buzz. But not everyone is happy about the product announcement, especially Mark Zuckerberg. Mark Zuckerberg's Meta is now facing even more of an uphill battle than they were before, as Apple's entrance into the mixed reality space puts the two companies into direct competition with each other. Meta has been in the virtual reality space for years, ever since it acquired Oculus in 2014. So Apple's Vision Pro is direct competition for Zuckerberg's Meta Quest headsets and his vision of the Metaverse. The rivalry between Apple and Meta is nothing new. Apple CEO Tim Cook and Mark Zuckerberg have been making subtle jabs against each other's companies in the media for years now. And Apple has even made moves in the past that hurt Meta's business, like when the company made major privacy changes in iOS version 14.5 that crippled ad tracking and by extent Facebook's advertising business. But the rivalry is now more intense than it's ever been due to the announcement of Apple Vision Pro, since this is arguably the first time the two companies have directly competed with each other. So which company is likely to come out on top of the mixed reality headset wars? To dive into this question, let's talk about how Apple and Meta are approaching their headset businesses differently. And to do that, we need to understand the distinction between augmented reality and virtual reality. Mark Zuckerberg's Metaverse vision is based on virtual reality. Virtual reality, or VR headsets, are meant to replace the user's real-world environment with an immersive computer-generated environment that replaces the physical world. It's like being transported into a simulated reality that's no longer in the real world. You can see that vision come through in all of Meta's promotional footage for the Metaverse, where they are showing off unrealistic and computer-generated worlds. It's all about escaping reality and diving into a totally fictional environment. Apple's Vision Pro, on the other hand, is designed with more of a focus on augmented reality. Augmented reality, or AR, is focused on adding digital information or virtual objects onto the real world, creating a blended physical and virtual environment of sorts. Users can see and interact with their surroundings with the additional digital content added to it. And you can see this design philosophy behind the Vision Pro in Apple's promotional material, where they emphasize the seamless integration of virtual info into your everyday life. So while Meta is all about immersing you in entirely virtual experiences, Apple wants to enhance your real-world experiences by adding a touch of digital information. It's a clash of two different design philosophies, each with their own unique take on what a headset should be. It's worth mentioning here that Apple's CEO, Tim Cook, has as far back as 2016 said that he believes that augmented reality will be much bigger than virtual reality. And he's also been publicly critical of Meta's vision for the Metaverse. So while Apple and Meta are both competing directly in the headset market, they have very different ideas about what these headsets should actually be doing. And I think this difference in philosophy between augmented reality and virtual reality will ultimately be the deciding factor in whether Apple or Meta comes out on top. Personally, I'm more inclined to agree with Apple that augmented reality will be preferred by most people and have more mass appeal. I think one of the biggest barriers to mass adoption of headsets is that people generally don't want to be completely disconnected from their physical environment. I think a lot of people are genuinely uncomfortable with the idea of being alone in a room with a device covering your eyes and projecting images directly into them. It just sounds a little too much like a scene from The Matrix for most people. So the heavier you lean into the idea of completely replacing the physical world, the tougher I think it becomes to get interest from most people as mass adopters. So I think Apple's focus on supplementing the physical world with digital information is more in line with the things that people would actually want than Zuckerberg's vision of a fully digital world in the Metaverse. But another huge difference between the two companies' approach is the price difference between the products. Apple's Vision Pro headset is starting at a whopping $3,499. The Meta Quest Pro, on the other hand, which is Meta's highest-end headset, starts at $999. And on the lower end of the spectrum, you can get a Meta Quest 2 for only $299. With that hefty price tag on the Vision Pro, it's pretty clear that Apple has their sights set on enterprise customers and developers as their target market. They've packed a ton of functionality into the Vision Pro, making it ideal for work applications. On the other hand, Meta Quest is priced more in line with the consumer market, and its applications are more focused in that area as well, with a strong emphasis on gaming and entertainment. And while we're on the subject of price, it's been pointed out by many that the Vision Pro seems to be a better overall experience and more powerful than the Meta Quest Pro. But I don't think this is totally a fair comparison. After all, the Vision Pro is over 3 times the price of the Quest Pro at a price point of $3,499. So I would certainly hope that it's more powerful hardware if it's 3 times the price of the competition. If these were being sold at the same price range, I think this would be a fair criticism of the Quest Pro. But right now it seems clear that they are targeting very different markets at the moment. I'm expecting them to more directly compete on price in the future though, as I think it's likely that Apple will eventually release new headsets at lower price points that are more focused on the consumer market. Right now, I think Apple's making a strategic move to enter the enterprise market first and work with developers to build the software ecosystem for the headset before they eventually release cheaper versions for the consumer market. So here's my take on which company is going to come out on top here. I believe that when it comes to the headset market, Apple's going to have the upper hand against Meta. Why? Well, the augmented reality focus of the Apple Vision Pro headset is something that I believe has more mass appeal for the average consumer. The virtual reality focus of the Meta Quest seems to be more geared for a niche audience that's more concentrated with dedicated tech fans and gamers. But here's the thing. Just because I expect Apple to come out on top against Meta doesn't mean that I expect the Apple Vision Pro to be a smash hit. I'm skeptical that mixed reality headsets are ever going to reach the same level of mass appeal as smartphones. Let's face it, strapping a hefty headset to your face creates a barrier between you and the real world. The whole concept is definitely a little bit alienating to say the least. Sure, we already spend plenty of time on smartphones and social media, but those technologies keep us a little more physically present in the real world. We're just looking at a screen with those. With a headset, you can't escape the fact that you're strapping something to your face and disconnecting from your physical environment. Instead of looking at a screen in your physical environment, you're now literally covering your face with a screen, blocking out the world around you, and turning the screen into your environment. That's a different degree of separation from the outside world altogether, and I think it does limit the appeal for a lot of people. It seems like a technology people might want to use here and there, but certainly not one you would want to use all the time like people do with their smartphones. For these reasons, I think mass adoption for headsets is much more of an uphill battle than for something like the iPhone. While there's definitely going to be people who embrace the Vision Pro, I still think the headset market as a whole faces a tougher road to mainstream acceptance. Apple and Meta have an interesting battle going on between AR and VR, but we'll have to wait and see how consumers truly respond to the idea of immersing themselves in a headset in general. But be sure to let me know your thoughts on Apple's Vision Pro and their competition with Meta in the comments below. And make sure to subscribe to the channel for more finance and business content. Thanks.